Thanks everybody for joining us. We're here to talk a little bit about the Corporate Transparency Act. My name is Trevor Whiting. I'm one of the founding partners of Dana Whiting Law, and I'm joined today by Tom Eagar, one of our newest attorneys. And we're glad to have you here, Tom. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here.
Like I said, we're gonna talk about the Corporate Transparency Act, Tom, and that's a hot topic that has been circulated around, by a lot of people, and clients may hear that, and so they may come to our website wondering, hey, what's this Corporate Transparency Act? And so just from a high level, what is the Corporate Transparency Act?
Thanks, Trevor. So it's a new act, just became effective in January this year, 2024, and it requires reporting of beneficial ownership information to the federal government, to FinCEN.
So it's basically a reporting of who owns businesses, right?
That's right.
And when we say businesses, there's some exceptions and stuff. Who generally needs to be concerned about the Corporate Transparency Act?
So this is going to affect probably most new entities that are created. So it's going to be small limited liability companies, new corporations, most entities that are going to have to make a filing with the Secretary of State of their state to create an entity.
Yeah. So in Arizona, we file partnership certificates of partnership with the Secretary of State, but we have the Corporation Commission where we file articles of organization and articles of incorporation for corporations and LLCs. And so in general, it's any of our clients that are setting up a business. It could be just be a LLC that's owning a rental property. It could be a new business they're starting. It could be a partnership, things like that, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, a lot of people have to work, be concerned about this, and that's why it's being talked about so much. We've got to do a lot of filings. What are the deadlines for some of these filings?
This is a report that has to be filed for most entities that were in existence prior to this year, before 2024. So for entities that existed before this year, they've got until the end of 2024 to make this filing. For all new entities created during 2024, you've got 90 days from the time the entity is created to file this report. And then going forward, 2025 and beyond, it's going to be just a 30-day window to file the report.
So even entities, LLCs that were created before 2024, when the act came into effect, those entities all have to file too.
That's right.
So they have to report who owns it, who's in control of the business. What are some of the things that they have to provide to FinCEN, to meet the requirements?
That's one of the things that is maybe a little concerning to some people. There are 5 things that have to be provided to FinCEN, some of which is sensitive. So the full legal name of the beneficial owners, right, the individuals who have substantial control of the entity. So full legal name, their residential street address, their date of birth, and their unique identifying number from a government-issued document like
a social
passport.
Security number or passport number.
I think it needs to be a photo ID. So passport or driver's license, and also FinCEN is also requiring an image of that ID.
So a picture of the passport or driver's license.
So not stuff that you want to go out, that you want getting out into the public.
Right. And so is that information going to be out there for the public?
No. It's locked down very tightly, right? So it's just for FinCEN and the IRS and possibly other government agencies that can show they need access to it.
So it's not going to be in a public database where people can search and say who owns this or that.
No.
The state databases might have some of that information, but this federal database isn't going to have new information unless it gets hacked, right?
Yeah, well, hopefully that won't happen. So the state, there are some states that are enacting their own version of the Corporate Transparency Act. But even state governments, I don't believe, are going to have access to the information collected by the federal government unless they can show the federal government a good reason why they should have access to it.
So I think the summary and the takeaway is that if our clients have businesses and LLCs and partnerships and things like that, then if they were in existence before 2024, then we have until the end of the year to get all that information and get it filed with FinCEN,
Yep.
right? And then if there's new entities that we file this year or that we create and set up a new business this year, then we've got 90 days. And so we make that part of our process. We set up the entity and then we collect the information and get that filed. And next year, it's only going to be a 30-day window to get that done.
Yeah, so for most people, this is just going to be part of the process of creating a new entity from now on.
And then what if some of that information changes, after you've filed it with FinCEN?
Yep, good question. So there is an ongoing obligation to report this information. So if the beneficial owner's street address changes, their birthday's not going to change, right? If they have a legal name change, maybe they get married, they're going to have to update this information with FinCEN.
That's a lot of reporting.
It could be.
And it's going to be up to clients to remember that, and us as attorneys to help them remember that and things like that. But yeah, the Corporate Transparency Act is going to be a big deal. It is a big deal, and we can help our clients get through that and do that filing. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for Tom for joining me on this video, and hopefully people learned a little bit about the Corporate Transparency Act.
Thanks, Trevor.